Apa khabar dan kembali semula kepada Financial Hotline bersama Rafiq dengan JJ. How are you, bro?
I'm good. Bagus.
Very good. Bagus lah tu.
Yeah.
And once again, for those of you watching my live, just before this, I went live on my page just to inform. This whole thing is just to help with your financial literacy. The main reason Rafiq, I got in touch with Rafiq and Rafiq agreed with this is because we want to help people. That's the main idea there. If you, there's a few things that you can do if you want to. You can check your financial health for free up there. What they can give you is
Or you
the
can
top
just scan.
line. Or you can scan. Tu dia, scan kat situ. What you can do is they can check your financial health. They can give you the top line, the red lines, and all the lines. But if you want further advice about what else you can do to improve, that one go in more detail. Okay. Other than that, also follow them on all their social medias up there, and then Kaltim. But let's get straight to the rules of engagement today. First rule is there is no such thing as stupid question. Everybody's level of your financial understanding, some are higher, some is lower, doesn't mean there is a stupid question. So if there's any questions you have, even though if you might think, people will laugh at me, please don't, because if you don't know how to do it, it's best you find the right way to do it. And that's why we've got a licensed financial planner who can give you advice. Okay, to tell you the truth, where else can you find for free? Or a licensed financial planner will go, okay, come, let me help you. Okay, not that I'm saying licensed financial planner takkan tolong. I'm just saying I've got one here who was willing to help. So anyway, we are trying to catch up with last week's show. And last week's show, we did like for all our shows, we say keep on putting your comments in the comment section. And if there's a question we can don't answer during the live show, we will answer the next show. And we've got one right now from the last show that belum answer. So I thought let's start off with that before we go to the main topic of the day. Cool?
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks, JJ.
okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
technically it's the same
yeah. Yeah.
as our topic, tapi okay, boleh. So like I said, how detailed we should be doing our estate planning. Wait, before we answer that also lah, let's put down that question. Can you explain what estate planning is? Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to be the layman here. I have no clue what estate planning is. When you said estate planning, I think planning for your houses ke tempat ladang ke
that's a different type of estate lah.
that's a different type of estate. But I literally don't know. So what's estate planning?
Okay. So basically, okay. So the word estate here means your whole the whole assets that you leave behind after you pass away.
Ada faham.
Ah.
Okay.
So basically then if you add the word planning to it, it's basically how do you plan to manage and distribute your assets to make sure that it gets to the right people at the right time. I think that is as simple as can explain it.
Faham? Understand? Yeah, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So different people, similar to any financial related stuff lah. Different
Yep.
people would have different needs from an estate planning point of view.
Correct. And
Because
different
they
targets
have
and
different
goals as well.
circumstances. Yeah,
Yes,
they have
correct.
different circumstances. So
Correct.
example, if you're single, your plan for your estate might be different than somebody who is a sole income earner.
Okay. Understand what you mean.
Okay. So or it might be different than somebody who is taking care of, let's say, relatives who are OKU.
Right. Understand.
Okay. Yeah. So estate planning is inclusive of all that. So basically, like I said, the simplest way of explaining what estate planning is basically planning for what's going to happen to your estates to ensure that it gets to the right people at
Right.
the right time.
Right. Now, someone is going to say, isn't that what insurance does? But there's your
Hmm.
estate involves everything.
Correct. Yeah. So because the thing is, if you think from an estate, from a timeline point of view,
Yep. Okay.
okay. So let's say the day that you pass away is day zero.
All right.
Okay, is day zero. Okay. So depending
Yep.
on your situation, So if let's say you're single, you don't have anyone dependent on you, so the timeline is
Yep.
not that important.
Correct. Correct.
Or if
Correct.
you are an elderly where all your children has already self-sufficient, so then the
Understand.
timeline is also not important. Okay.
Understand. Understand.
However,
Understand.
if you're still you still have dependents that is
Rely on your
depending
income. Yeah.
rely on your income, rely on the assets that you have, etc. So then
Yep.
the timeline becomes very, very important.
Okay. So, like everything else, it's dependent on the person looking at your
Correct.
estates lah. Wan Ahmad Salihuddin, hello. He says hi. So I
Right.
hi back. I just reply. Uh, Rizwan, Melissa wants to say hi. So okay.
Hi.
Hello, Melissa. I don't know why people saying on behalf. It's very confusing. Tapi tak apa. Hey guys, please if you can share this so that more people will benefit from
Mm.
this knowledge. Remember, we do this every other Friday. We've covered so many topics, but today one of the main topics we're going to cover is estate planning. But that doesn't mean if you want to ask any other financial questions, we won't answer. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just our main topic benda ni. Ada soalan
Yeah.
lain, tak ada masalah. Okay, so now we've covered what estate planning is. So estate planning is what you leave behind with people who are alive after you pass away. All right, and it's we've identified the different kind of urgency when it comes to estate planning. Some people, if you're a solo guy or a girl, then your estate timeline is not as important. But if there are people depending on you, then it's very important. So cool. We've cleared that. What
Mm.
you leave behind? Okay, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
statement. Okay, thank you. Correct. So now I guess we can go straight to Victor's question then. So the Victor's
Yeah.
question, which is this Victor? Thank you. Victor's question is how detailed should we be doing our estate planning? So that's a good start. So after we establish what estate planning is, how detailed should we be?
Okay. So again, it's gonna sound like a broken record. It's gonna be very dependent on your situation.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if let's say in your let's say if you're in the case where no one is dependent on your
On
estate,
you. Yep.
that on your income, then you do not have to be that detailed.
Okay. Okay.
Because yeah, so because even if let's say you sorry, I need to charge my laptop. For some
Oh,
reason
tak
it's
apa,
not
tak apa.
charging.
I will continue with the salingan music sambil belajar. So the salingan music is as saringan music as Rafiq
Okay.
sets his thing.
Okay.
If you want a free financial health check, remember you can follow that code or scan down here. All right, and you can get your free financial health check. Then you can go into more detail later on because a financial planner, will get in touch with you and go into more details. And then that one, all you talk like. Okay, let's go back to how
Okay,
detailed.
so coming back to what I was gonna say before the battery interrupted me.
Tak apa.
Okay, so if let's say no one is dependent, like I said, the timeline is not important. The timeline is not important because even if let's say you died without a will or died
Right.
without a wasiat,
Yep.
which is the basic instrument in estate planning. So I say basic. A lot of people might say that that might be the only instrument, which is wrong.
Okay,
Okay.
that was going to be one of my questions. You should
Yeah.
jawab. We'll go into detail
Ah,
later. Okay.
okay. Yeah. So if in Malaysia, if you die, actually not in Malaysia, like in any place of the world, if you die without a will or wasiat, so it's called dying intestate. So means that you don't have a will.
Yep.
Okay, but in Malaysia we do have the Wills Act where it does say for the non-Muslims how the distribution would be even if you don't
Okay.
have a will. It's just that the process will take longer without a will versus having a will
Understand.
because
Understand.
there are certain steps that would have been bypassed with a will that you would have to go through if you don't have a will. So
If
for
you
Muslims, if
just to add on to that, do you have the knowledge of how much longer are you talking about?
it can it
I know it
It
varies, but
can take
it
much
can be
yeah,
like,
it can take at least potentially 1 or 2 to 3 years longer.
holy.
It
Okay. Okay. When you said 1 to 2 to 3, I thought you're going to say months. When you said years, oh, okay, that's too long. Okay, never mind.
yeah, so because like my late dad actually passed away without a will.
Understand.
Okay, so he passed away without a will. Not that he didn't want to write one. Okay, he actually asked me actually a few months before
Past.
he passed away,
Yep.
about writing a will.
Right.
Okay, so then being a financial planner, I asked him, so what kind of assets that you have?
Right.
Obviously, see, as a son, I don't even know what assets my dad has because I don't ask.
Correct. Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then he said he shared a piece of land back hometown in our hometown in Alustar with his siblings lah.
Right.
With
Understand.
his siblings and relatives. Okay. So then I said, okay. But then he told me that it was in the process of being
Sold.
sold.
All
Okay.
right.
So
Okay.
so then I said, okay, at what stage? So I think at that time it was already like they already agreed on the price. They already agreed on price. So was just waiting to sign the SNP and the MOT.
Okay. Okay.
Memorandum of transfer. Okay, it was
Right.
yeah. So then I said, okay lah. If that's the case, then it's just cash that you'll be putting in a bank account. So then if it's just that, uh, I w- I would say there are easier ways. So if let's say you put it in let's say ASB Tabung Haji, there are different instruments that you can use instead of a wasiat because the wasiat is going to be slightly more expensive to set up.
Understand. Okay.
Yeah. So then he said okay. He said okay. However, what happened was he passed away during the process. He passed away during the process, and he didn't sign the MOT.
Oh.
So
Okay.
basically, the process had to be restarted all over again. So that means instead of having cash,
Oh. Right.
now is the uh, we have to work on a piece of land.
Yes, and then it's going to be complicated because the name of the land is under your father.
Yes.
That's another
Yeah.
process as well to pass it down to you to prove.
Correct.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
understand.
so
Understand.
so so I had to go back to Kedah a few times in order to go through the process. However, in my case, I actually knew what needed to be done.
Lucky.
So it didn't
That
take
is
me that long.
lucky. No,
It
that is
didn't
lucky
take
because you
me
have the
yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah, it didn't take me that long. It's just waiting for the steps. So, but I still engage a lawyer to help me things like that.
Right.
Because then the lawyer will be doing all the work in between and everything. I just need to attend the hearing. I just need to uh, attend the signing, whatever that needed to be
Yep.
done lah. Okay,
Understand.
yeah. So, but yeah, it took about 9 months lah, which
Mhm.
is okay, very okay if let's say you don't have a WhatsApp. Yeah,
Yes.
you don't have a WhatsApp. But in general, especially for Muslims, because it
Yeah.
would take generally longer for Muslims if you don't have a wasiat, is because there are additional steps that you would have to take. So for a
Oh.
Muslims estate planning, we have two courts that we have to deal with, or two sets of laws,
Right, Sharia and also
the
the
civil law,
civil law. Yes.
the civil law. So we have to work on both. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and there are things that will actually take time, especially if you can't get if there's like multiple beneficiaries and you
Yep.
can't, let's say, get the agreement between all the beneficiaries to agree, let's say, okay, example, in my dad's estate, so everyone in my family basically sebulat suara said, okay, you go ahead and manage it, and then
Right.
they sign off.
Fair enough,
Then they
because
sign off. So
then that is easy.
yeah, so but in certain cases, it doesn't happen that way.
Correct, correct. Some people,
Yeah.
everybody's got something they want to add or something they want to say that is
So
gonna.
so why that person? Why not me? Why?
Yeah.
So and that in essence will take time.
Correct. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let me know, Victor, you've got a few additional questions. I know I'm not going to get to it yet. I just want to follow up on one of the points that you said that made me realize a few things. You said, I don't know my own father's finances because it's one of the things we don't talk about. How do you approach the subject with your parents? Because I'm sure there are some people here, for your own mortality, you think, okay, but you know, your parents are getting older. Should you talk to them about will and stuff like that? Is that, how do you approach that subject without, because it's a biased subject. When you approach the subject, people's thinking, oh, kau nak mati, you want to take everything of mine, is it? Is that all you care about? You know what I mean? That line. But the truth is, it's just to help with the estate. What's the best way to approach this in your knowledge or in your experience?
Okay. So in my professional experience,
Yeah.
I've had cases where children
Yeah.
actually approach me to talk to their parents on behalf.
Oh my god. Okay, fair enough. You have done it
Yeah.
before.
So because is I think I've mentioned this before in terms of the perception bias. So you mentioned it just now. So if let's say the children actually bring up the topic and try to talk to the clients and they say, trying to talk to the parents,
Parents.
then the parents say,
Yeah.
hey, what are you trying to do? Blah 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
But if let's say it's a neutral third party lah, okay, as neutral as we can be, right? Okay,
Correct.
so talk to it. So we'll be just explaining the process, explaining what will be the
Understand.
implications of not doing so. So then, up to you, you want to do or not. So we I would be coming in from the educating, creating awareness point of view
Right. Okay.
instead
Okay.
of going there to basically close the sale.
Understand. It's not.
Ah,
It's this, but more personal. So
yeah,
it's this conversation we have, but more personal. Maybe over a teh tarik. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So cool. I didn't know you did that. Trust me.
yes, a couple of times.
So trust me, I bet you there's a few people like, thank God there's someone who can actually do that, because it's a very sensitive topic. I have to admit it, because I don't dare to approach that subject myself, and I wouldn't know how to approach the subject at all.
Yeah,
And
actually,
yeah,
both my parents approached me separately lah with regards to their own estate planning.
fair enough. You know what I mean? Which is good
Yeah,
because at least your family is aware enough of it, but not many families are. So it's very important.
yeah.
Uh,
Technically lucky that they have a licensed financial planner in the family lah.
correct.
You know how like before this you have a doctor or accountant or
Correct, correct,
a
correct.
lawyer in the family, right?
Everyone has an advantage in the family. Hey,
Yeah.
here's another thing. I have heard stories where because there was no estate planning, after the person passed away, the family fought a lot. So it's very good to make sure you have estate planning. Okay, let's see. A few people got a few more questions. Victor says, okay, is it enough? Okay, what Victor's got a few questions. So let's pop up
Thanks,
one of
Victor, for the
Victor's questions.
questions.
I love my other questions is what happens if I miss out on something on the list?
Okay, can you clarify what do you mean by you miss something out in the list?
Okay, I'm just going to give you an example. Mungkin when I'm planning my estate, like this is what I have to leave behind. Suddenly, like, oh wait, I have another insurance. I have not placed that in, or I have another property, or I have stock. How do I add it into my? Is it like a will when you talk about estate planning?
Okay. So, I think I've mentioned slightly earlier, estate planning is not just a will.
Right.
A
Exactly. You
will,
said
a will is an instrument of estate planning. So you also
ah,
mentioned insurance. So insurance is also a tool that helps you in estate planning.
correct, correct. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for
So
clarifying that.
yeah, I saw Victor clarifying this. So items in the will. So if let's
Yep.
say you miss out items in the will and you're still alive, good news is you can amend your will.
Correct.
Okay. It's actually, even if let's say you have completed the will, it's actually good practice for you to at least review your will every 2 to 3 years at least,
Correct.
because there might be
And
changes in your circumstances.
correct. And reputable will services, they tend to send you a letter saying this is your will currently. Do
Mm.
you want it updated? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And I know like if you watch the dramas and everything, so it seems like only the rich people have wills,
Correct.
right?
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
because
no.
they can afford the fancy lawyers and everything. But in actuality, when you talk about a will and when you draft a will, a will is not as expensive as you think it is. So that's one.
Yes.
Two, actually amending a will is also not cost prohibitive.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Actually, some will agencies actually have that as an add-on bonus that you can amend your will after a certain amount of.
yeah,
So just
yeah,
shop around.
yeah.
There's a few.
So that is if you're still alive. So if you're still alive, you you have full control over your will. So you
Yep.
can revoke it, you can change it, you can take out names from it, you can add
Names.
additional clauses to it, and
Yep.
nobody can stop you from doing that.
Correct. Because it's your will.
It's your will.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's technically also 100% valid for non-Muslims. For Muslims,
Yeah.
there are certain limitations.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For Muslims, there are certain limitations because okay, you cannot say from in a wasiat to ni. So you cannot purposely say, okay, I don't want to give anything to, let's say, my son, because
Oh,
let's say
tak boleh.
this son dahaka ke
Ah,
ni,
ah.
no, cannot,
So no P Ramlee
because it's
movie like that lah.
no nah, no, because it's through a will, so it's already stated. You can say lah, okay, I don't want to give, but in it will all still go back from a decision point of view, ultimately to 5/8.
Okay. Okay.
Ultimately to 5/8, because 5/8 is already stated clearly in the Quran. So
Right.
in terms of how to distribute it to your heirs.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
So
it's a non-negotiable it's a non-negotiable item lah.
it's yes, it's
Yeah.
a no no.
So if let's say in your will you can still write, that okay, I don't want to give it to my son.
Yeah.
But if the son knows his rights, right? So he said, no, I know that according to 5/8, I should get X%. Okay.
Understand.
So
Yep.
during the distribution, he can claim for the amount that is due to him.
But there will be pergaduhan within the family lah. Okay.
Mhm. That one might not be you might not be able to get away from it lah.
Correct. Ashrul says hi. Hello, Ashrul. Okay, I want to ask a
Right.
question. You said, oh, sebelum we go to that question, okay, never mind, we'll go lah. Okay, hi, sir. What's the key element of a good estate planning? Cool. Before you answer
Mm.
Ashrul's question, I just want to say you said there are a few tools to estate planning. Insurance is one, will is one. What are the other tools? Before you answer the question.
Okay. Okay. So there are other things. So you have wasiat. Okay. You have wasiat. You have
Yep.
insurance to use. You
Yep.
have what's called a trust.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So you have what's called
Trust
a
is
trust.
like that one. If you got a lot of money, then I understand trust lah. Kalau 25
Yeah.
ringgit, no need trust lah.
So but the trust you can there's a few ways for you to set it up also. So
Oh.
there's a trust that you set up with assets. There's also a trust that you set up with your insurance proceeds. There's also a
Oh.
trust that
Okay.
there's also a trust that you can set by way of will.
Oh. Oh my God.
Yeah. So
See,
it
that's why we
like I
need
said,
a financial planner.
yeah. So that's what I said. So sometimes when I see people like talking about it, so, oh, I already done my wasiat. So okay. Then when we review the wasiat is not complete or the will is not
Ah,
complete.
understand.
Okay,
Understand.
because it doesn't cover because this is actually going to link to Ashraf's question actually.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so we also have matrimonial assets. So or in Malay harta sepencarian.
Yep.
Okay, especially for couples lah.
Yep.
Especially couples who are married. So we also have the hibah in the need. So it's the gift.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so as you can see, there are
A lot.
different instruments, and
Yeah.
all these instruments actually, if you do proper estate planning, will have a role that they play.
Which goes to what's the key element of a good estate planning?
Okay, yeah. So the key element to good estate planning, so it goes back to the objective first. Okay, making sure that
Okay.
the people that is supposed to get the benefit from the estate planning gets it at the right time.
Ah, okay, 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 okay,
Okay.
okay, okay, okay,
So,
okay, okay.
let's go through the timeline again. Okay, so day zero is you pass away. Okay, day zero you pass away. So after you pass away, all your assets will be frozen.
Yes. Yes.
You only have access to the physical assets. Means that if you have a house that your family is living in, they can still continue to live there. If the car is available, they can use the car. So
Use
physical
a car.
assets, no issue. But all your
Yep.
liquid assets, all are going to be frozen. Once
Right.
once the sijil mati has been registered, it's going
Yep.
to be frozen. So cepat, very. So once they say, so it just goes. So because I know some people say, oh, tak apa, I give my ATM card to my wife, or I give my ATM card to my husband or my kids,
Right.
so they can go and cucuk and everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cucuk also there's limitation how much you can take out before it's frozen lah. Let's be honest about it lah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So then you need to understand the situation. Okay, if let's say all my assets are frozen
Yep.
and my income is not coming in anymore,
Yep.
how would my beneficiaries continue to survive? Okay,
Especially if you're the sole breadwinner.
yeah, if you're the sole breadwinner. Okay, even if you're not the sole breadwinner, can your spouse manage your family expenses while waiting for your asset to be liquidated
Oh wow. Okay.
and while waiting for your insurance or takaful policies to be paid out?
Right. And that takes time also. Like,
That takes time.
yep. Yep.
If you have ever done claims, if you ever done claims with insurance and takaful company, so I'm pretty sure more people have done hospitalization claims
Yes.
and car accident related claims, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so
Correct.
most people have done that. But even if let's say you do that, right, you know that it's not gonna be that quick for
Correct.
you
It
to.
it's not overnight.
It's not overnight, so it might
Yeah.
take you a few months before you get that. And this is we're talking about small amounts.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I recently got a client who her husband passed away.
Yep.
Her husband passed away. So she's still waiting for some and it's more than a few months already. So she's still waiting for some of the insurance and takaful providers to pay out. Some has
But
paid out.
that but
Some has
but
paid out. Some hasn't yet.
but thank God that the husband got in touch with you and got his estate in order.
No, actually, this person became a client after the husband passed away.
Oh no. Okay. Wow. All
Uh,
right.
but okay, at least because this person also works,
Right. Okay.
so she is not dependent on her husband's estate. So
Luckily.
it's not that big of a concern for her.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So she's lucky that way lah. So this goes back to Ashwin's question. So for her, yes, her husband estate, blah blah. Uh, she doesn't need it fast. So there are certain things that she needs. Example like for the MRTAs to be paid out so that she doesn't have to pay the exorbitant amount of repayments of, let's say all the husband punya loans.
Understand.
Okay. Because it doesn't want to affect, let's say, her personal financials.
Thank God that he has all that things.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the timeline. Okay.
Yep.
So frozen. Okay. Frozen. So then, if let's say you were to be in a situation where you actually need apa? You actually need to support the family that you leave behind.
Yep.
Okay. So then you need to make sure that there is money available from day zero.
Correct. And estate planning can do that. How can you make it?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, when we talk about estate planning, okay. So first is okay. How do we make available money? How
Yeah.
do we make available money or assets to be accessed by the living family members
Right.
as soon as possible?
Yes. How? That's a good
Okay.
question.
Okay. So the first one is either you go down the route of, let's say, trust, because trust doesn't
Okay.
go through the probate process. Okay,
Yes.
trust doesn't go through the
Yes.
probate process, so it's basically very fast lah. It's very fast. Okay, so that's one option. Second is, if let's say you do have, let's say, money in cash or liquid or whatever, you can either do trust nomination. So it's a trust
Okay.
nomination, but so basically you nominate already that if something were to happen to me, this account will be given to this person. Or in the
Like
Malay
your
one is
EPF
like
and
hibah
stuff like
amanah.
that, right?
EPF cannot. Like for Muslims,
Oh.
EPF cannot.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
EPF is subject to private aid for Muslims.
Oh. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Interesting.
yeah. For Muslims, EPF is subject to private aid.
Yeah.
Okay. So but other liquid assets, yeah, you can actually put like hibah amanah or trust nomination, and that would actually bypass the probate process, so it gets to you faster. The other option is actually just to give the money to your spouse lah.
Yes. But where do you keep the money? It's not safe to just
So
keep money
so
around,
so
right?
basically, if let's say you give the money to your spouse, so then the spouse is keeping the money in her own
In
account lah,
her
or
own
in
account. Understand.
uh but
Okay.
if let's say something were to happen,
Yeah.
you divorce or something, then it's gonna be another different headache lah.
Correct. I've got a question. If people deal with stocks and bonds and all that, and normally you go through a broker, right? So is that a good form of quick liquidation? In other words, if the broker knows that the wife and then you just sell it off, or is there something that the
It would
client
it,
have
it
to
would it
sign?
would it would actually, okay. So basically, all the assets would be frozen. If
All,
let's say you don't, yeah, all. So all the liquid assets will be frozen. So all your CDS accounts and everything will be frozen.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
unless you've planned for it. So you plan for it. So like I said, like most of the brokers should also have the option for trust nomination
Right.
available. So
So,
you just need to fill up some forms, because it's a standard product. Fill up some forms,
yeah,
pay certain charges, and then you're
yeah.
set.
Okay, so in other words, guys and girls, if you do have bonds and stocks and all that, please look into what was that thing they're supposed to look into again? What
It's
nomination?
nomination, trust nomination,
Trust
trust
nomination. So
nomination.
look into trust nomination. In case you this is the first time you're hearing it, look into that just in case. If you can do it now as well, because
Yeah, you
like
should
as we
do it
can
as soon as
see,
possible, lah.
correct. As you can see, during these uncertain times, anything can happen to anybody, and overnight things can change. So it's better you're better safe than sorry, because the good
Correct.
thing about stuff like bonds and stocks, you can liquefy it quite fast. If you want to just clear off your stocks, you can just clear it off
Mm.
straight away and take it out everything into cash. There's no, because you're not looking at highs and lows and at what point already you
Yeah,
just go
you,
just sell
you
just
just want to liquidate it. You just want to
correct, you
liquidate it.
just exactly. So please look into that. We've got more questions. Siapa ada soalan? I there's a
So,
lot coming
so
in.
this, yeah, this is, I think, the session that we have the most questions, I think.
Correct. Okay, if my hubby passes on and I find out that I'm not the ooh, but his assets, I
Ooh.
give it. Oh, this is a soalan yang good question. Oh my God, I don't believe someone asked that question, but it's a valid question. Do you have an answer to it?
Okay, so my
Yep.
understanding is you can try to challenge it.
Okay.
You can try to challenge it.
Yep.
You probably, when you talk to lawyer, you probably have some potential recourse,
Okay.
some potential
Okay.
recourse that you can try, because being the legal spouse and everything, so you can try to see whether you can claim matrimonial assets, provided, but then you'll be asked to provide some proof lah, provide some proof to support your
That
claims
your
lah.
which should be your
Yeah, like
marriage cert lah.
how basically how you contribute to the how you contribute to building the assets lah.
Oh wow, you got to prove that.
Yes.
Okay, that one bahaya.
Without this, because the thing is, okay, right now you're in a situation where planning didn't happen.
Yep.
So you know how when you see dramas and everything, so they talk about prenuptial, a
Yes.
prenup, right?
Yep.
So the prenup would then already said, okay, so this is going to be what's going to happen, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Okay,
Okay. Yep.
so then it's easy. Then you see, because it was already planned for.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in this kind of situations, it wasn't planned. Okay, technically
Understand.
it was planned lah, but your
Yeah.
your
You're
it
left
wasn't
out
planned.
of the plan.
Yeah, you were left out from the plan, but you
Right.
cannot revoke. Technically, you cannot revoke the will lah,
Whoa. Okay.
because
Hopefully that.
because you're not, because in this case,
Yeah.
because uh, caveat, if you're not Muslim,
Muslim different lah. Muslim, it's
Muslim
in
different.
the.
So
It's
so if you're a Muslim, you can actually revoke the will. You you
because
will you will still be able to get something
there you
if
go.
you're a Muslim.
It's good to know. But here's a question that leads up. Ashraf's got another question, which is interesting because you brought up Muslim. He says, as a Muslim, do I need a will or a trust or both? What's the difference between will and trust?
To be honest, depending on the situation, you might need both. You might
Okay.
need both. For most of my clients, I actually advise them to have a couple of the instruments, because, like I said, for proper asset planning, we actually want to make sure we achieve the objective
Okay.
to uh, getting it to the right people at the right time lah.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah. So I already explained it. Okay, with the trust, it's to help while waiting for your asset to be unfrozen, actually, to be liquidated. So if,
Okay.
let's say, you don't have a trust and you don't put aside uh money for your family or not, then how are they going to live? Just imagine, So example, you're a multi-millionaire, but you're single income family. You're a multi-millionaire. Your income is 50,000 a month, right? But all the assets are under your name.
Yeah.
Okay, all the assets are under your name. So then your family who are used to living this wealthy life, this comfortable life, and everything, suddenly
Yeah.
after you pass away, don't have access to all these assets, doesn't have access to all this income.
Then they cannot
So
continue their way of life.
then they cannot continue
Yeah.
to live comfortably.
Correct.
Yeah. So then this is the reason why we need to do
Both.
the planning. So there's both. So you still
Yep.
need to have a trust and you still have a will. Okay. So both
Interesting.
of them have their uh own reasons, own objectives why you need to have it.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's not an either or an or.
Yep.
It's not an either and all because like example like trust. Okay, trust is generally you're talking about financial related stuff.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay, but under wasiat, there's also things that are non-financial related that you need to include.
Like
One example, who's going to be the guardian of your children if, let's say, both of you were to pass away?
that was actually where I'm going to lead to. Okay. My interesting question was, now we're talking about one person passing away and then distribution of your estates. But if your planned idea is if I pass away, pass it on to my wife and my children, but my wife have majority control, blah 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 blah. But if kedua-dua pass away, is there contingency in place? How do you create a
Yeah. So
contingency there?
yeah. So basically, if both pass away, so this is why estate planning is really important. It's really important because
Right.
then you're actually planning for all the potential worst case scenarios.
So it's not just one. Okay, okay. It's
So so
you're
so
looking
so,
into
so
more
when
deeper scenarios.
correct. So when I talk to my clients about estate planning, if they're married, I would actually, even if let's say only the husband or the wife engages me, I
Yeah.
would say that I will also need to talk to your spouse
Yes. Okay.
because whatever that your spouse is planning for estate planning must be aligned with you, at least with things that overlap,
Okay. I understand.
which is generally the kids lah.
This 100% is the kids
Yeah,
and their well-being
generally the kids.
after the fact. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, like identifying, appointing who's going to be the guardian of the children, underage children, if they were to pass, if both were to pass away, who's going
Yep.
to be the trustee of the assets that the children will be getting if both were to pass away?
That is so complicated. Eh? Okay. I never thought
It
of.
is. It,
I didn't
it
think
is
that far.
complicated. It is
I didn't think
complicated.
that far. Okay. Here's a question. It might sound stupid to some, but this is my genuine question: is uh, does financial planners do this for people? Is this one of the services you have? Because I don't know.
Okay, so it's actually one of the modules that we learn when we take our certification.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's actually half. So under module two, for Islam, for CF, certified financial planner and Islamic financial planner, so it's half a module.
Okay.
So estate planning atau pengusahaan harta pusaka is actually half a module, but
Right.
it's actually combined with insurance. It's actually combined with insurance and takaful. So then it completes the whole
The
estate
whole
planning
understand.
framework lah.
So, so can someone come to a financial planner and help with the estate planning?
Kan?
All right. Because
Simple
whatever
answer.
you
Can.
just one of the things, because whatever we discussed just now, all right, even though I just spoke about it, my mind already going, what was that again? And then suddenly I'm scared again. I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't cover all my bases. Now I got
Yeah.
to rethink a
So
few things.
this is why, like, even like say when I meet up with new clients and they tell me during the fact finding that they already have a will. So I will
Yep.
still ask them for the copy of the will so
Yep.
that I can review it to make sure that it is completed. All the things that needs to be like what Victor was asking earlier, all the items that needs to be covered has been covered sufficiently. Because
Yeah,
worst is like if you were to pass away and it's not complete, then there will be issues. There will be
correct.
issues.
And
So this is why we talk about it as planning. So we want to make sure that all the issues doesn't need. But just having a will, like I said, doesn't complete your estate planning.
there's
It's
so many
only
other things.
one.
Tool.
It's only one instrument.
Yeah, one instrument.
It's only
Okay,
one instrument.
for everyone who anyone who's just joining us, if you're just joining us, they also can speak to your parents about this because it's a sensitive topic. And Rafiq has done it before.
Yes, I've
Spoken
done it
to
before.
people's parents on behalf of them to talk about their finance. I mean, estate planning, which is very scary. Okay, just taking a break from the discussion. If you see the code up there and the code down here is for you to get a free financial check on yourself, on your finances. A financial planner will get in touch with you from Vantage. They will give you details about your red line, where it's just when they can give you details but not solutions. Solutions, it's you take it further after that. It's no longer free. It's a service that they will provide if you want to hire them. Also up there, all the social media links is where you can find out a lot of free information that they share very often, so you can go there and check it out. All right, I'm gonna go up to a question that Victor had. He is saying something about, can I have a blanket term to say if anything needed?
Yeah, can.
Boleh?
Boleh. So
Okay.
so so what one of the things is with will and wasiat, even though let's
Yeah.
say okay, you've already let's say have trust, you already have all the other things. So like I said, so one part of will and wasiat to identify to include certain things that is non-financial. So that's one. Second is actually to be the catch-all phrase. So like what Victor is saying lah. So anything that might have missed out or is not included in my will, blah 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 blah. So okay, so that is that statement actually
Oh, all right.
in a standard will or standard wasiat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Which is very important because
Yeah.
we all, if you do it yourself, kadang you crazy.
Yeah.
You
But
forget
the thing
about all
is,
this.
from a law point of view, you don't need to use a trustee. You don't need to use a lawyer to actually draft wasiat or will. You can actually do it on your own.
Oh,
You can actually just take a blank piece of paper and write your own wasiat or will, and then
right.
get it notarized. Get
Right.
it notarized,
Okay.
then okay, this is your need. But then if let's say you miss out on certain things like that, you don't write it properly, then tanggung sendiri lah.
Understand. There's also like services, like I know there was this online service, or
Mm.
it's called Bereave.
Yeah,
So the crazy
yeah,
part about this one is you can even leave videos, like video messages. So when I
yeah.
pass, someone gets the password, and then they can do a video message. You'll see messages that you left people. So I'm
Mm.
like, okay, that's it. Is that considered estate planning also?
It's basically your last wishes and everything. Some people will
Right.
actually draft a separate letter to be given to their family members separately. Some will actually put it in the will itself, like their last wishes, things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
have so it depends on individual.
Right.
So you
Okay.
can leave a video if you want to. You can leave a
Understand.
video. You can leave whatever it is that you want to. You can put all your draft videos and everything. Let's say on your social media account.
And
Okay,
then
your social
give the
media
password.
account, but you don't publish. You don't
Wow,
publish.
that's such an interesting thing that I never thought of, which is actually quite cool.
Yeah, yeah. So then once you pass away,
Yeah.
so then part of the will you put in the login and password in your will in
Hey,
your
that's
last
such a
wishes
cool
part.
thing to do. Hey. That's actually
Yeah.
something I would do. Hey, we've got another question from Ashrul who wants to add tambah sikit. So he says, harta beku Muslim people is very high, 70B, I think. What is that? I don't know. You
So
gotta
this is
explain. What is your advice as estate planning awareness to the community? That's a question that I also don't understand. You please explain.
okay. So basically, okay, depending on who you talk to lah. So there are people that said actually the statistic is not correct lah. So, but there are people who then use it and say, okay, there is a lot of frozen estate for Muslims especially up to 70 billion ringgit worth. So that's not
Oh,
a
okay.
yeah. So that's not a small amount of money lah. So there are
Yeah,
probably people or families out there that would benefit from getting access to that those frozen estate lah. Okay.
yeah.
So but I think putting that aside. So what is your advice on estate planning awareness to committee? I think first is just to be open to it. Just to be
Right.
open to talking about it. Talking about setting your will, preparing for estate planning and everything doesn't mean that you're dying.
Yes. You just.
Doesn't mean that people are wishing that you die.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
put that thought aside. It's actually just to prepare for your loved ones in case something were to happen.
Correct. The
In case
crazy
something
part.
were to happen.
This is honest to God. I a few years after I got married, both my wife and I got our wills done. Nothing to do with anything or whatever. We got our wills done, and then we've updated our wills to include our children as our children came into our lives.
Mm.
So the main reason was I wanted to make sure that if anything happens to me, whoever I leave behind is taken care of. So it's very important. So do it now if you can.
Yeah.
Um,
So so do it now while you're still alive. Do it now when you still have a sane mind.
yes, and I'm going to say something that some people might consider morbid, but if you leave before your parents, if you leave before your parents, don't put your parents through a hard time of settling your business. I'm just saying that lah. So settle your business so that your problems don't fall onto your parents. So they already
Actually,
lost their child.
yeah, actually,
It's
I would
true.
just add to it lah. I would just add to it. So basically, the reason why you do estate planning is so that you don't trouble whoever that you leave behind.
Correct. That's the
So it's
exact
your
truth.
parents, your spouses, your children, your relatives, whatnot.
Correct. So
Okay,
so
because yeah,
the reason why I brought up the parents is some people like I'm single lah, nothing to worry about, but your parents are still around. So macam tu lah.
mm,
there's if there's anyone dependent on you or you live behind, do it. That's my best advice. Cool. Anyone got any other questions? Remember, it doesn't have to be about estate planning. It can be about anything. If y'all got any questions, don't forget you can please put it down in the comment section. Like if we missed like last week, we came in and just answered it this week, and we started a topic on it. But what else do you want to add? Because I'm looking at the time, we got not much time
mm.
left. What else do you want to add when it comes to estate planning? Because it is a taboo subject to approach. Some people like, you don't talk about la choy or bad mouth or black, not a wood la, all kind of superstitions come out. All right. Um, but what do you want to add when it comes to awareness of estate planning and the importance of it?
I think similar to other things lah. So you should try to look for people who can provide you awareness and unbiased advice lah in
Right.
terms of doing this. So I'm not saying not go to, let's say, people who just okay, you just need to hibah, then everything is done. Okay, so because to me those that I'm not saying that what they're doing is wrong. They are also helping, but what they're doing is also giving the wrong perception.
Right.
Giving the wrong perception, saying that okay, if you just do hibah, everything will be settled. No, it's not. Or just do wasiat, everything will be settled. No, it's not. So because like I said, there are financial related implications and there's non-financial related implications as part of estate planning. Okay.
Right.
So this doesn't take into account. Okay, so that while I still talk about estate planning and everything, so there's actually certain tools in asset planning that you need to that would also impact you while you're still alive.
Like,
So okay, let's put it this way. So if let's say your will actually will only take effect after you pass away.
correct, correct, correct.
If you're in a coma, if you're if
Holy crap!
you're permanently disabled,
That's just insurance. Then everything else, how?
but who's gonna manage the accounts?
Oh yeah, you haven't assigned anyone to.
Correct. So that is another facet of estate planning that needs to be taken account when you do estate planning.
I never
So just don't think
thought
about
of that.
passing away.
Understand? Right.
So you also need to think if in the case like okay, worst case scenario, you don't pass away, you're still alive, you're in a coma, things like that. So your family is still affected, by the way.
Correct. Because like there are people stories of people in a coma for 3, 4, five
Yes.
years. Oh wow.
Definitely lah.
Especially, yeah.
Like Michael Schumacher.
Correct. Oh my god. Oh wow. Yeah. Actually,
Right.
is it?
He's still alive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No.
yeah, but he was in a bad shape
Wow. I never.
for a long time.
So I never thought of that. I never thought of estate planning in that way because
Correct.
when it
So so
comes
so
when it
so
comes to that, the only
uh,
thing that comes to mind because of the awareness of it is insurance. That's the only thing that
yeah,
comes to my mind.
yeah. So
But
one
I
is
didn't think of
insurance. So
everything
this
else.
is also where something like a trust comes into play.
Right. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you can then okay, if let's say something would happen, so I'm in a coma. So the incident is I'm in a coma of I'm permanently disabled and everything. So okay, so then the trust will be activated where okay, this will then be used to pay off my medical bills. This is going to be used to pay off my uh beneficiary expenses, things like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
again, so just to close it off for tonight. So just don't look at what people come to you and say, okay, you just do this, then your estate planning is completed. No.
Right.
Estate,
Understand.
eh, what they're talking to you about is the instruments. And there's no one similar to investment, there's no one super
Instrument.
investment or best investment that is foolproof. You can get good returns, things like that. So you actually have to diversify. Same thing with
Estate planning.
estate planning. There's no one
Right.
instrument. You just do that with one instrument, it covers everything. No, it doesn't work
Understand.
that way.
So
So all these instruments actually are building blocks to properly setting up your estate planning.
and this, okay, just to make it clear to everybody, both of us are doing this on our free will. Tak ada orang dapat gaji from this. We are sharing our knowledge because it's a very
On a
important
Friday night.
subject. On a Friday night, we want people to get their knowledge. So this I'm saying with no bias, get in touch with a licensed financial planner. The reason why I say get in touch with a licensed financial planner is because they are not just biased towards their own tool that they have. An insurance agent will be biased towards their own tool that they have. They won't look at the other things available. A will person will look at will, a trust will look at trust. So a financial planner will look at all the tools available that would suit your situation the best and to get the best outcome that you want. So this is me saying this. It's good to speak to a licensed financial planner to plan this out properly so that you get the best outcome you want. Okay? It doesn't mean anything, it's just to get the best outcome you want for the people you're leaving behind. So it's very important to do that. All right. Whew, dah, sensitive topic. Everybody like, ooh, I don't believe we did this.
You're welcome,
Have
Victor.
you Well, looks like you have to look up to right after the Chinese Ghost Month. Betul, betul. Before we leave, just a reminder up there, remember, or the scan button down here, this QR code is for you to get a free for you to get free financial health check. So they can check your financials. They can give you the top line. Licensed financial planner will get in touch with you. They can give you the top line, but not the solutions. The solutions is you engage with them for a more detailed dive into your finances. That one they can do as well. Get in touch with them. Okay, you're most welcome, Astral. Also,
Yeah.
please follow them on
Thanks for asking all the questions. Thanks
Exactly.
for
Thank you
asking
so
all the
much for all the
questions. Yeah.
questions. Follow them on social media because they share a lot of other things for you when it comes to financial knowledge for you to build, and you can check it out. And once again, if you're watching this after the fact, please share this with your friends. Share it on your own pages so that more people can learn.
Mm.
But you can continue the conversation in the comments. Just leave the comments underneath. If we didn't answer it, we'll answer it our next show. 100%.
Yes. Yeah.
If we
So,
don't know how to answer, we'll
eh,
call a professional. Orang
correct.
lain masuk.
Yeah. So don't worry. So like what JJ says, keep the conversation going.
Yep.
So drop us messages, put in the comments and everything. Similar to what we did with Victor's questions, we couldn't get to it the last time,
Yep.
so we then said, okay, let's just have the session around that particular question. And if let's say you want any further reading and anything, so you can actually go to all our social media, all our websites and everything. The information is there. The information is there. So we have several articles in uh different languages. So
Yes.
I'm not sure whether we already have it
Mandarin.
in Mandarin lah.
Not
We
yet.
are in the process of creating the Mandarin articles
Correct.
for financial. But in both Malay and English, we should have articles estate planning related.
Correct. And another thing that you can leave in the comment section that we do encourage is topics that you want us to cover. Specific topics like this time around we covered estate planning. If there's a specific topic that you want us to cover, we can. If we have covered the topic before, we can highlight the video that we've covered the topic before. Tak ada masalah also. So we can help you there as well. So once again, guys, thank you so much for all your comments, all your likes, all your shares, all your questions. It helps a lot, and I hope this one helped everyone. So we're gonna say good night. Thank you so
Good
much
night,
for watching.
everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye
Ciao,
bye.
ciao. Until 2 weeks. Bye.
2 weeks from now. Bye.